Thank you. It's great to be here. I'd like to just start this off with a few questions. How many here have children? Or ever were a child? Pretty much everybody, okay. I have 3 children and I'm grateful for them. Here they are just a few years ago. Now they're not this little anymore because they grew up so quickly. My son at the age of 13 grew to my height at 6 feet. We shared the same shoe size for a month, and now he's a little older. He wears a size 14. Now we've always had this competition in our household of who's the tallest, with the pencil marks on the wall and all. So I told him that I was still growing too, and he said, "Yeah, Dad, this way." You know, my kids are growing up so quickly. They want to be doctors, pro athletes, an incredible Hulk. And also, we're growing up. We have goals, dreams, and desires. We have goals, dreams, and desires, and we want to run our first marathon. We want to be the best in human resources. We want to earn our first million, spend our first million. We also want to experience smelling, tasting, taking that vacation or being with our loved ones on their special day. We also want to overcome things that maybe everybody knows about us, such as a physical blemish we were born with, an unfortunate turn of events, car accident, or things only we know about, or a few close friends. You see, children carry around this. Children carry around this, and it sits back here. These are blocks and limitations. These blocks and limitations are preventing their potential. 2 plus 2, what's 2 plus 2? Oh, it's 4. Okay? They're carrying around these blocks and limitations. The stove's hot? Charlie, don't touch the stove. Why? Oh, that's why. It's hot. We carry around blocks and limitations to reach our goals, dreams, and desires as well. And they sit back here. These blocks and limitations sit back here. And we don't notice them. What do you mean I treat people harshly? But what do you mean I'm not organized? What do you mean? What do you mean I don't see it? I don't see it. What are you saying? But of course, everybody else can see it. What would happen if I continued to carry this around? Do you think it impacts me financially? Would it impact my health? Would it impact where I would be the same time next year? It'd make a big difference. Imagine yourself 5 years ago. And if it helps, close your eyes to imagine where you were 5 years ago. Where did you live? What car were you driving? Were you in a relationship? Were you still in school? What cell phone were you using? Now, it doesn't really matter what you had back then or what you have now, but the knowledge has increased since 5 years ago, has it not? There's been a big change. Well, these blocks and limitations, we carry them around, but the quicker that we get rid of them, the more we get to utilize the wisdom that we gain. So don't you wish you could go back when you were, with the knowledge that you have now, to go back 10 years? It would be amazing, wouldn't it? So the quicker that we can learn up on this stuff, the better it'll be able to help us. Now, I believe this is why Anne Frank said, everyone has inside of them a piece of good news. The good news is that you don't know how great you can be. And the often quoted, but very applicable, Thomas Edison said, if we did all the things we are capable of, we would literally astound ourselves. So, I want you to think about, if we have so many great things that we could remove and reach our potential, why do people not gain this better perspective to see what everybody else is seeing? Why do others not gain a better perspective? I want you to get amongst your groups and talk about, why do others not gain a better perspective? Why don't they see what we're seeing? Okay, I'll give you a few minutes and just talk about it at your table. Go ahead.
You got a And Audrey's the one that said the kid was. You're so hard.
Let's wrap it up. All right, so what did we come up with at the table? Why would someone not gain a better perspective? Why not? Stuck in their ways? It's always been this way, right?
Yeah, why should I change now? You know, it's always worked.
It's always worked. Well, let's just stay in our comfort zone, our bubble, you know, everything's fine, we don't need to change it, right? It's good. I don't want to change anything. You know, it's comfortable. You think of the 30 or 40-year-olds still living in their parents' basement, you know, they're playing the video games, or I guess in today's games of Halo, right? You know, as they grow up, you know, and they figure out, you know, I can blame my own parents for how I turn out, at least in their own mind. It's hard to break out of our comfort zone, get rid of some fear. And what's another reason?
Feeling of loss.
Feeling of loss? Explain.
Sometimes you like what you have, so you're not open to what else is out there because you're afraid. Like if your boss comes in and is like, "We're going to make a change," and you like what you're doing, you suddenly feel a loss. So you're not really open to that perspective.
Right. You're still being protected. You don't want to go. You don't want to break through to a different change or a different avenue. It's comfortable.
Well, not only that though, it's a loss. It's like a relationship. If you enjoy doing something, interacting, and that's taken away, it's like grieving. It's a loss. And we misinterpret that as not engaged when we have to recognize that when you're dealing with change, you gotta help people get over to the other side.
Good.
It's a process.
Good. Yeah. What's another reason? Yeah.
You don't get the right feedback from people around you that tells you you need to change.
Yeah. Maybe they all think they're right.
Or they're just afraid to be honest with you.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit of manipulation, maybe, or you know, there's some people that think that it's everything or nothing, always, never. They think in absolutes. It has to be this way. Who knows someone that says it has to be this way or else I'm wrong, and I am not wrong? Who knows someone like that? You can sit next to one right now. What's another reason?
Chat about it, and actually, I think if people aren't trained in self-reflective processes, then instead of looking at interactions and what goes wrong and going, "What role do I play?" then they might tend to blame the people.
Okay.
But actually, it's an interaction, so you should reflect on your role
Yeah.
in that situation.
Good. Okay. What's another reason? Did you guys know as much as you did when you were 5? Sometimes we don't know what we don't know. Maybe a lack of knowledge. Maybe that's why we don't have a better perspective. Because when I read an interesting stat, according to the National Opinion Research Center, the NORC at the University of Chicago, you can get a doctorate degree in 283 different fields of study. 283 different fields of study in a doctorate degree. That's a lot of degrees. So compared to the microscopic particles, the world, the solar system, the universe, individually, we're really toddlers stomping around learning to walk. So if we're 5 or 95, let's keep learning. And if we're smart, we'll be there right beside you. Now there's all kinds of reasons we don't gain a better perspective. Abusive homes, imagined dreams. It wasn't supposed to be like this. Addictions. They're all good reasons. I get asked all the time, you know, I want to improve my relationships. I want to get that promotion. I want to improve my marriage. How can I do that? They read their self-help book. And they read their self-help book. You see the person that goes to the doctor and says, man, I've got this big illness. Help me put a Band-Aid on it. We've got to get to the root of the problem, the foundation of it all. And then we can build our expertise on it. When we remove these blocks and limitations, we can gain that better perspective. If you haven't experienced how many professional speakers there are in this world, They talk about their great stories, and they're excellent stories. I love it. Those are my peers. And I'm not discounting that at all. But they've got great content, right? The content is to help you shift your perspective to a better perspective. Either that perspective is to get you to never give up, or to think bigger, or to think outside the box, but all of it is to shift our perspective, to see what we weren't seeing before. And that, I think, is amazing. Here's an example of someone not perceiving, needs a shift in their perspective. So how do we get here? I'll tell you part of my journey. I was 15 years old. My family had just barely moved from Bountiful, Utah to Centerville. Anybody from Bountiful or Centerville? Anybody that went to Weber State University? Okay. So I was 15 years old. My family just barely moved from Bountiful to Centerville, all 6 minutes away. Not very far, but I'm the 8th of 10 children. And so my other 7 older brothers and sisters went to Bountiful High, and I was going to go to Beaumont. A little bit of a shift in what I was going to be doing, but being 15 years old, I was really good in my athletics. We just barely won our Little League championship. And the team that we actually beat in the championship, I am now going to be playing for on their team. So they're kind of excited, but kind of disappointed that we beat them. But so I'm pretty good in that arena. I'm doing really well in my studies, 3.5 GPA usually all the time. And I'm telling you all this because it was the very beginning of our high school year. After I've been dating a girl for a while, I just ran for a 94-yard touchdown from the 6-yard line all the way down to the end zone. And not too much later, I found out that we had already been 5 months pregnant. I didn't know what to do. How could this happen to me? Sure, I've been to health class, but how did this happen? Do I have a future? What about her? Are we going to continue doing our schooling? What about the baby? Boy? Girl? Are we going to place them for adoption? Are we going to get married? If we get married, how are we going to provide? How much do baby products cost? We had a tough decision to make. And out of a lot of consideration and thinking, and eventually we had to face this. What are we going to do? Well, what have you done? Well, we decided what was best for us in our own particular situation was to get married. We thought we knew what love was. We thought we'd give it a shot. We knew it was going to be difficult. We just didn't know how difficult. Imagine I had to get a job minimum wage, flipping burgers at a fast food place. And imagine seeing your peers, your schoolmates drive up to the drive-through and order while you're back there trying to make a living for a young family. It stunk. By the end of our sophomore year, I had gotten 3 different jobs from improving them, and was given the opportunity in my last job, my 3rd job, to actually have the opportunity to work an average of 15-hour days. Where I would work for a moving company, and we'd get there at the office. We'd drive usually about an hour until we got to a business or a home. We'd move them all day, and then we'd have another hour back to the office. And that usually, this 15-hour average days, usually was on the weekends or summer. The longest day I remember having was 18 hours, where I went through the full day of moving a company, getting back, and then they had a brand new warehouse, and I got to seal the concrete into the early hours, which gave me 18 hours. I was exhausted, I was beat. We had moved 3 times. We went to my parents' house, and then we went to her parents' house. Then we went out on our own. We had our own apartment on Center Street in Bountiful, Utah, in an apartment complex. moved 3 times by the end of our sophomore year. It was difficult. We were struggling. I realized if I was going to change, if I was going to be able to provide, if I was going to be able to make anything of my future, I needed some more knowledge. I needed to finish high school. I needed to go to college. I needed to learn. And so what did I do? I learned. Every day when I was with the moving company, that hour, since I wasn't a driver, I was just a helper, someone to move all the furniture and boxes. I read in the morning. I read on the way back. And I consumed myself. I believe we're in a day with information overload. We get tons of information. I wanted to get the stuff that was no rah-rah motivation. I wanted stuff that worked. Time-tested, best classics. So, with the lack of knowledge, I sought out some of the best books. Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Some of these great books that you have probably read yourself and have loved and enjoyed, and I took some of the great information from them and started applying it to my life. I learned from everything that was a bestseller, something that was going to do me some good. I didn't need some quick fix. I needed something that was going to work and give me some knowledge. Also speakers, great content, great leaders, Beethoven, Muhammad Ali. All of these people, I tried to learn what made them successful. What did they do? What were their daily habits? What was their thought process? J.K. Rowling, did you know she was homeless before she made it big in the Harry Potter series? Huge inspiration. She had a vision. No matter what happened in her life, she continued to press on. Walt Disney. Who doesn't like Disneyland, right? Abraham Lincoln, one of the great, and many more, over 170 of the best information that I could consume, that I could just read and soak the knowledge in. I needed the knowledge. I used that knowledge. We'll get to that in just a second. But I used that knowledge. I used that knowledge to think bigger. To think bigger, I thought of building up a business, a self-delivery business. Who knows what a water softener is? A water softener, if you don't know what it is, it's a machine that takes rock salt, 50-pound bags of rock salt, puts it into your plumbing system, into your house, and makes the soap lather up better and cleans out your system. It works really nice, and here in Utah, there's tons of hard water, so lots of people have water softeners. The thing is, with a water softener, you have to fill it up with these 50-pound bags every month or every few months. You have to go down to the grocery store, load the 50-pound bags of salt onto your cart, wheel it to the checkout stand, pay for it, get out to the parking lot, load it into your trunk, take it back to your house, go up the stairs, unload it, down the stairs, and put it into the water softener. So I had the genius of idea. What if I was able to get this in bulk? You know? Cut out the middleman and just go get the salt directly. So ironically, as I was driving up today, I got my salt on 12th Street of Ogden, all the way out of the IMC salt mine. Borrowed my grandpa's truck, his half-ton pickup truck. Boy, was he going to be surprised. And I went out to the salt mine. I negotiated to be able to get 1 ton of salt. 1 ton of salt straight from the 80-foot silos there that would shoot out and fill up the 18-wheelers that were driving around this whole refinery manufacturing place. And so I pull up in my half-ton pickup truck. I go underneath this 80-foot silo, and I'm just hoping that it doesn't blow off the wheels of my truck. So here it comes, boom! And to my surprise, everything was still intact. I drove that back, I filled the salt into 5-gallon buckets, and I carried those in a salt delivery service every month, on the first Monday of every month, or the first Wednesday of every month on a regular route, and fill up water softeners. I got that because I was able to think bigger. I was thinking outside the box. I was providing for my family. And so I had a business, and it would pay me a lot better than flipping burgers, or moving, or the other jobs that I had. So I used that and start to provide for my family. I graduated high school, finally. I finally graduated high school. Now off to college. Weber State University. Went up to Weber State University, continued to grow my salt business, and through the process of 5 years growing the salt business, I sold it using a business broker here in Ogden, and used the proceeds of that to finish out college and get a job with a Fortune 500 company, moving us for 4 months out to Dalton, Georgia, and then getting a sales rep position to come back in Utah. How many times have you individually soaked up a lot of knowledge? Right now, I didn't know it at the time I got here, but there's a lot of people from Weber State. You guys are in college right now, learning and growing and gaining more knowledge. So I ask you, how much learning have you done, and what do you have expertise in? Who would like to share something that has graduated already? You've got a master's, right? Getting master's degree. So you've got a bachelor's degree, getting a master's degree. Are you specializing in anything?
Contract management.
Contract management. Is that an expertise? Do you think he's going to have some knowledge in that field? Individually, I know you guys have all thought of or gone down a path to gain more knowledge, to be an expert in something. And that's helped you. So, using my knowledge to get to where I was at, I had a Fortune 500 company. I felt like we were starting to do pretty good. You know, I felt like we were kind of out of the woods. And I worked for this company in 2008, 2009 came around. I've been there 2 years, and just like a lot of people, I've been affected by the Great Recession. I felt like we were finally getting somewhere, and I was laid off. I can't win. I felt like a failure. I felt like for the last 8 years I've been struggling, trying to get back to normalcy. You know, to drive a car that doesn't break down, I don't have to put coolant in it every 2 days or oil. And I felt like we were finally starting to get somewhere. Now I'm unemployed. I remember the mantra of never giving up. Never giving up. I called up my competitor. And he immediately gave me a job. As another sales representative in the construction industry, I was working for Shaw Industries. They're a carpet manufacturer based out of Dalton, Georgia. Their competitor was Bentley Prince Street. They do actually all the carpet in the LDS temples. Very nice, elegant carpet. So I worked for them, and the economy didn't get much better. In fact, property values lost half their value, and I was laid off again 5 months later. That hurt. I've been here before, I put the effort in, so it wasn't as hard as the very first time I was laid off. But I was still here, not much later. I put the effort in, started to apply myself to my customers. So now I'm not a competitor, but I'm still in the construction industry. I get hired again for the 3rd time. I'm working for this company, and 5 months later, the economy's still not getting better. I'm not learning my lesson here. I'm still in the construction industry, and I get let go for the 3rd time in 2 years. I needed to shift my perspective. See, when I was thinking in absolutes, when I was thinking just never give up, never give up, never give up, I loved it. It's inspirational. Until I learned the definition of insane. To do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. I was hitting my head against thinking in terms of absolutes. So I made the genius idea of taking all that great information that I've learned. How many here have read a self-help book? Any of those books that I showed up there, or any other ones? Yeah? You kind of come to the same conclusion that they talk about the same things over and over and over again, the same topics. In fact, 38 different topics. 38 different topics they talk about. And so I compiled them all together. Selfishly for my own self, I put them into a book. The book's called Being Wise. That's what I authored and published polished and put together, and it's a collection of the best information and how all that information works together. I started to see the conflicting advice. I started to see that some stuff is more situational. I started to not think of never give up anymore. Instead, I keep moving forward. Keep moving forward carries the same message to try again. But by keep moving forward, we adjust and adapt to what's working to get to where we want. How many times do we think in absolutes? We think of stuff that's always going to happen. Always. Like, for example, this cup here, you know, if I fill it up here, then always somebody's going to get wet. Not always. This was another. You're a good sport. So, in thinking in absolutes, I saw this comic and I wanted to share this with you. Someone in thinking in absolutes. Speed is the key to success. Is it okay if we do the things wrong if we're really, really fast? No. So, what about a magic trick? Or which line is longer? Which one? The same. They are. They're identically the same. So we can't think in absolutes. In fact, magicians use this all the time with absolutes, thinking that stuff's not going to fall until they add a magnet, you know, or a smoke and mirrors, and then they change it. We got to think in more balanced intelligence. You know, we already use that knowledge. How to figure stuff out. Knowledge versus wisdom. Knowledge is really about facts and ideas that we acquire through study, research, investigation, observation, or experience. Whereas wisdom is the ability to apply that knowledge to the greater scheme of life. Or, being smart is knowing your wife's hairstyle isn't as good as her last one, and being wise is knowing enough to keep your mouth shut. Gentlemen, this could help us out a lot. I started using that new insight, that wisdom, and I was hired on by another company. Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, actually, another Fortune 500 company. Moved our family from Salt Lake City to Portland, Oregon. And here's a copy of the book, and this is what I actually train people on, because through the research of putting all that book together, we found two major sides, two major findings from putting that information together. One side is that gaining a better perspective is our greatest factor for success. And the second side of the research showed that in order to gain a better perspective, is that from our ability to shift our perspective away from 6 detriments and towards 6 advantages. So I train corporations and teams and departments on how to gain a better perspective and apply these 6 advantages. So the employees are better engaged, where productivity, revenue, and quality of life all increase. And that's what I do full time. That's what I do. I usually do a 2-day training course. Depending on the corporation, it's usually 1 day to a whole week, depending on what they're doing. That's what I train. That's my expertise. That's what I do. But at this time, I used that wisdom to get a job. I was hired. 3 years later, I was going to be promoted. But when I moved from Centerville, Utah, up to Portland, Oregon, I covered 5 states. I was a sales representative for them. And as a sales representative, I covered 5 states. I covered Oregon, Washington, Northern California, Idaho, and Hawaii, because somebody had to go in and do the harsh weather. So while I was up there, I became first of 62 of my peers, and I was promoted up into management. I was promoted into management. We moved down to Las Vegas. We moved down to Las Vegas. I covered the whole Southwest region for the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company. While I was there, every quarter successfully, averaging around 124% growth, and I realized that I could have been here my entire life. The person I actually replaced for this management position retired, and I was able to just stay there the rest of my life. I was comfortable. And it was kind of nice. For one of the first times in my life, I had gotten to a place where not only I was succeeding and being, back to where I felt like I should be after all the trials I'd gone through, I felt comfortable. But I knew I'd been given a gift. I've been given a gift of something that I needed to be responsible for. So, I took that responsibility because I needed to learn that was blocking my potential. In your guys' own career, in your employees' career, they need to take responsibility. What you're good at, what your talents are, that is where you get to actually excel with what you're good at. I did a cute little acronym, CAR, to illustrate what these are. With a lack of knowledge, thinking in terms of absolutes or a lack of responsibility, those are the biggest potential blockers that we carry around with ourselves. So being responsible, I did. It doesn't make it easy, but I started through the course of people asking me to tell people how I got from where I was to where I am now, or then in the management position. I started telling people about what I had and what I was learning. And so on the side of working and building a business and telling people, I finally made the decision to move closer to the family and graduate from corporate America. That was best for me. And so at this point, this struggle was more of a controlled struggle. Kind of like when we go to the gym, you don't really want to go there, but when you're actually going, it's going to be hard and it's going to be tough, but you know that it's coming, right? It wasn't like when I was getting laid off, I had no idea that this was going to happen, or the surprise of, guess what, those things just happen, life happens. But this is a struggle that I was putting myself into. And so while we bought a house in February and I finished out in May, I was traveling back and forth through the weekend. We were living there and I was living there while we were making transition. So Monday through Friday, a good friend of mine let me use his office space, and on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, I'd fly back home and be with my family. But don't get too, sad for me. I did get furniture. And then eventually in May, I made it back up to where we are right now in Centerville, Utah, closer to family. And where I travel a lot for work, it's beneficial to have family around. As a professional speaker and corporate trainer, I travel 70% of the time of the year. So it's nice to be closer to family. You got to provide real value. Real value. If we're gonna get out of our comfort zone, the position that you're in your company, are you providing real value? The company itself, is it providing real value? It is. We just got to figure out what it is, because then we can focus on making it better. What solution do you solve? How does it have a competitive advantage in price, quality, or service? Those are the three things that everybody kind of has to balance out. Either you can offer a really low price, but the service isn't all that great, or you have a really good quality and the price is a little higher. You can think of different products that way. Think of a smartphone, something that's really cheap. May cost $50, but it may not, even be a smartphone. Or an $800 phone, and it does way more than you ever need, but it's got really good quality. So you got to find out what your competitive advantage is. And individually, when you're working your own position, or your employees are working their position, they want to be the best at what they're good at. Everybody has a talent. Everybody has a skill. We get told this idea that we should be anything and everything that we can dream of. And that's really good until you find out that you're not going to be 7 foot tall and you're not going to be an NBA basketball star. I'm also not being recruited as a horse jockey because I'm too big. So physically, it's easy to tell when we have a talent, either in height or being short or whatnot. But there's different talented abilities. And we want to have the best employees in the position where they're at. And if it's not, we want to put them in a better position of where they can excel at. Isn't that the goal? To have the employees happy at what they're doing because it fits what they're good at. Or they have a desire to get better at it. So, everybody has talents, skills, and abilities, and it's our job to help them. Help them get to the right spot and help them recognize that they're in the right spot. Now, I've now trained and spoken for W.J. Bradley Mortgage Company, Caesars Entertainment, Shelton Still, Marriott, and a few other companies. And these are some of the comments that I get out because I stepped out of my comfort zone. After listening to Kevin, my performance improved at work, my sales increased, and I carry myself with more confidence. The book, Being Wise, is required reading at Shelton and Still. Your content changed my life. That was actually the very first comment I got. It was very humbling. These comments are too kind. It humbles me a lot because I've really just stood on the shoulders of giants. The people that came before me, they're the ones that helped me. The decent people, my support network, my family, my friends, my coworkers, my bosses, they're the ones that have helped me. So these are really humbling and kind, but I owe it to them. I owe it to them because of their support, because of what they've been able to give me. So through all the tough times, the struggles, being 15 and 16 years old when we got married, being laid off, building a business, the support and the love that I get, I appreciate so much because this December will mark our 17-year wedding anniversary. And I'm grateful for that. 17 years. I want to leave this stuff up for any questions and answers after this, but there's things that we've gone through that we didn't expect we would, haven't we? There are times when we felt like we've been stuck between a rock and a hard spot, and we had to make a decision. If you want your employees to be better engaged, if you want them to have the opportunity to reach their full potential, to enhance their relationships, to achieve breakthrough performance, and develop meaningful growth, then help them remove these blocks and limitations. Help them learn the knowledge. Help them to balance that knowledge in an appropriate way, and then they actually take action, responsibility, to take action on the things they're good at. Thank you so much for letting me come here. I've enjoyed it very much. Thank you. So, any questions or answers? I'd love to field those. I'm just here to be real, authentic. Hopefully, you've gained a lot from my journey and can bring that back to the workforce. What questions do you have for me, if any?
What happened to the water?
The water? Musician never tells the secret. I'm sure you could YouTube it, I'm sure. You know, the internet's an amazing place. You know, we all know this, that content is prevalent everywhere, and it's free for everybody to get. So, hearing people's stories, hearing about their accomplishments, you're going to learn the content, the stories regardless, but those are the fun and interesting things. Yes?
Did you read all 170 books and compile the 38 indices yourself, or is that a team approach, or how that happened?
So, you know, my head hurt just thinking about it, but I read the majority of them. I didn't read every single one of them through and through. I read every cliff note on those. The actual books completely, cover to cover, probably about 30 or 35 of those out of the 170. The rest of them, cliff notes, synopsises, you know, what's this book about? Is it about thinking big? Is it about any of those. So then the strenuous work of putting them into topics that talk about the same thing, and I have a whole living room full of little paper strips and into piles, and then organizing it into a book that actually made sense instead of just, here it is. It took a long time.
What's your favorite book besides your own?
My book's not my favorite. I love it, but my favorite, I think that impacted me the most was Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning. You read that book? Yeah. I get a lot of head nods when I mention that now. I'd say a close second is Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's just a good class. It's great.
Do you have maybe any advice on how, I mean, it's easy to say that you're gonna help somebody become more, what's the word? Self-reflective, be able to do these things, and kind of trying to coach your employees to kind of be that way and with their perspective, but it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
Any suggestions, any advice on how to approach somebody to let them know they might need to expand their horizons?
Selfishly hire me. But really, it's helping them shift their perspective. And you help them shift their perspective by giving them the detriments and the advantages. If you fill out your survey cards, in fact, everybody, if you fill out your survey cards, I'll give you a bookmark that has all 6 of the advantages on it. And then I can also send you a short little video, 2-minute videos on each one of them, so you can kind of see what they are. And then there's also a 5-minute self-assessment test you can take. I'll send that to you as a PDF, and you can look through that and just do a self-assessment, of how well they're viewing life in scarcity or abundant thinking, and quality thinking versus quantity thinking, and the like. So if you fill those cards out and leave your comments, I'd really appreciate that, and I'll give you those. I've got the bookmarks with all 6 of the advantages on it. And then the PDF stuff will just obviously come through email. I'm not going to spam you. That's just the easiest way to distribute a PDF from you. So that's the way I would approach it. Is firstly you have to get them to have the knowledge, and once they have the knowledge, then they can start applying that knowledge in a more wisdom way, and start taking action on it.
You gave us a lot of life advice and things you learned. If you could only give your children one piece of advice from what you've learned over the course of the 17 years you've had, what would be that piece of advice that you want to take away from the
Love. One of the key advantages, one of the 6 advantages is decency. To be decent. It's how you get your feeling of importance. And at the end of the day, the year, the time we pass on from among the living, it's how people remember us. And so I would encourage them to love people. I think that would be the biggest impact. I talked about J.K. Rowling and having a vision and a purpose, what got her to being homeless. And for me, it's my faith. My faith helped get me through. But it's whatever reason you're a decent person, whether that's a quote or a saying, or just you believe in hard work, a few key words. Being a decent person is about why you are a decent person. It's that motivation. And that's the biggest thing. We talk about it in the training sessions about it's your vision, your personal vision, your purpose. And in work, it's a mission statement. A mission statement is their vision, the reason why they get up in the morning, why Goodyear sells tires, to be the most innovative tire company in the world. So that's what I would tell them. I tell them to love, to be a decent person.
You were talking about, you said earlier, never give up, and then you also talked about keep moving forward.
Yes.
And my question on that is, going from the one spot where you're the never give up and being willing to make that change, to keep moving forward, what are some of the things that someone should have to work on to improve or improve a situation, and be willing to adjust depending on this?
So, the big change from never giving up to keep moving forward is being able to adjust and adapt, which is the third advantage of flexibility. If we're thinking in terms of expecting things to happen a certain way, we're going to be very disappointed because life throws us curveballs, things that we don't expect. And so the key of the third advantage of flexibility is being able to predict what's going to happen. That increases our odds. It doesn't eliminate bad things happening to us, but by predicting what may happen, we increase our odds. So my office, at the end of every day, they write out what they predict will happen the next day. Now, they list out their top priorities with a series of to-do lists of what we put together, but they have their most important things to their least important, and they predict what they're going to get done the next day. Well, every day it seems like we get to the office and there's a fire to put out or something comes up, and we don't get to all of those. So we made a prediction that this is what we could get done, and we hit the most important ones at the very beginning, and some of the things at the very bottom don't get done, and that's okay, because the most important things got done. And we just have to be more flexible. We can't expect the weather to be a certain way. We can't expect the PowerPoint slides to work all the time. We can't expect the water to be drinkable. Predicting that it will be is good because you got probably 99% chance that it will be drinkable water unless you're in Flint, Michigan. But the advantage of being flexible, to be able to predict and adapt to things outside of our control, is a huge advantage that we should have. Yes?
You mentioned you reached the point of comfort, being comfortable in things. And so I'm thinking you must have become uncomfortable with being comfortable to make some adjustments. And I'm also thinking that most of us as human beings desire to be comfortable. And so what is it, you mentioned knowledge is necessary, but what is it that if we're seeking comfort to make us move towards a state of discomfort?
Everybody's already doing it that's employed, because comfortable is just sitting on the couch and watching, whatever's on Netflix or something. Yeah, it sounds great, but what motivates you to get out and be uncomfortable are a lot of different various reasons. And I think I've learned through the course of being forced to be uncomfortable that I found that being uncomfortable is actually a good place to be. Because I guess the definition of uncomfortable for me has changed. It doesn't mean negativity, it means I'm progressing. I'm still putting myself out there with enough effort, so I'm not lazy, but at the same time, I'm not putting myself out there so much that I'm so busy and overwhelmed that I'm not getting anything done. So there's that wisdom part again. We don't want to be too comfortable, but we also don't want to be too busy. We don't want to be just so overwhelmed that we're not getting anything done either, and we're just stressed out all the time. So you find out that in the middle is uncomfortable, but improving at the same time. So maybe my definition of that word's changed a little bit more than it started out to be. Any other questions? Thank you again so much for being my audience today. I really enjoyed sharing my story and being with all of you today.